Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Daincast. This time, another game from our friend Bread So Sneezy. He is playing the red Protoss in the bottom right-hand corner of Nightshade LE, and his opponent is the infamous or famous Protoss player from Jin Air Green Wings. He is Trap. Now, guys, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna put on my detective hat. And I'm going to say that this is not the real Trap. It's probably someone who is just a fan of Trap, which there are several fans of Trap in the world that I know of. For example, Gemini, aka GGE Mini SC2, is a big Trap fan. But I think probably, given that this is not played on the Korean server or at the Grandmaster level, that this is probably just someone who is a fan of Trap's play. I'll have to see if he does his namesake justice against someone as talented, handsome, and incredible as BreaDy. He's another one of the Dane Templar. He's highly skilled in the art of manipulation and warfare. He's been training, he's been learning, and he is ready to take down some Koreans. Let's see if he manages it in this game. Looks like it's going to be a pretty standard 2 gas, 2 gateway opener from both of these players. Obviously, in PvP, this is what you want to do. There's just so much potential for aggression early on. You don't want to be expanding before you have at least 2 gateways worth of production. Make some stalkers, make some sentries, do something to give yourself a fighting chance in the game. You don't want to be skipping these units. I've never really seen a pro game in the recent patch where anyone does anything other than this 2-gate expand. It's very, very standard at this point. And both players are doing it pretty much flawlessly. I like that BreaDy has optimized this. You can see he's got 16 workers on minerals, only now adding a few onto gas to make sure that he's maximizing that mineral income. Another way you can do this is to saturate your gases fully after you get your cybernetics core, so that you make sure you maximize your gas income, but also maximize the speed at which you get that cybernetics core. But regardless, both of these players are basically playing a mirror build at this point. It is after the cybernetics core finishes up that we will start to see some kind of deviation from these players. So BreaDy is keeping his probe on the top of the ramp of Trap. He's actually going to drop a pylon here a little bit early on the pylon, but I think because his probe is so low, he wants to save him, so he needs to get him out at the last possible second. It's going to lead to Trap taking 2 probes to attack this pylon. Not really sure what the point is of this. This is just a massive waste of money, to be honest. And it is going to finish up so that he's going to be able to spot these. See, this is why I said it was early, because there's no chrono boost on these units. He's not going to be able to see what is made. It is going to be 2 stalkers, but BreaDy does not know about that, and he also isn't going to know about this expansion. He does know that there are 2 pylons in the main base, so it's going to mean that there's probably not a proxy out just yet, as neither does BreaDy. So both of these players are going for a early expansion here before any kind of tech or proxy. So it's going to probably stabilize here into a little bit more of a macro game. A sentry coming out for BreaDy. Both players making sure they're getting the defensive units they can, but the 2 stalkers of BreaDy are going to get the worst of this trade. So both of these stalkers do take shield damage, but BreaDy obviously taking a little bit more. This is going to force him away, along with the defender's advantage of Trap. Having his units come out of these gateways so close is going to mean that he's going to be able to hold here no problem, unless something crazy happens from BreaDy. So BreaDy realizes this as well. He's just going to go home and defend. But he does know, I believe he does know, no, he doesn't actually know about the expansion yet, so he wasn't able to get close enough in there. He was kept on the bottom of this ramp. He doesn't know about the expansion. Instead, he's going to just hallucinate a Phoenix, send it across the map, and he's going to be dropping some tech of his own. So he's going to go for a Twilight Council before anything else. This gives him the opportunity to go for either a Blink play for the most part, or to go for an Adept attack, or to go for a Dark Templar attack. So there's lots of different options with the Twilight Council. I really like this because it allows you to get a lot of your mid-game tech as well. Doesn't have any detection with this build, doesn't have any harassment just yet. It's going to be a little while, but it does overall strengthen his gateway units, gives him lots of options. Look like it's going to be Blink from BreaDy. Not something you see very often in PvP at these low ranks, because Blink, obviously a difficult ability to use properly. It's something that you're going to need to get value out of by harassing your enemy, controlling the map, killing their warp prism, things like that. A shade does come in from these 2 adepts. Nice little movement from the adepts, but they are going to finish their shade on the ramp. But since there is a shield battery here and a fair amount of units and a nice wall from BreaDy, he's going to be able to stop these adepts from going into his main base, and he kills them for basically free. Nice movement from BreaDy. He is down 4 workers through really just, I think, lack of creating, because there isn't really a lot of workers killed. Trap's killed 2 workers. but BreaDy has killed 1, so there's a bigger worker differential there than you would expect. A Hallucinated Colossus from Trap does go into the natural expansion of BreaDy. Doesn't really see all that much, though. Does see that he has an expansion. BreaDy trying to be aggressive with these Stalkers. There is an Immortal out for Trap, which is going to put an end to this Stalker aggression. I think BreaDy realizing that he doesn't have an Observer to blink into the main here, and this Immortal can pop those Stalkers like a... Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to come up with something that's not disgusting, but I'm just going to go with like a pimple, like a right pimple. He's gonna pop those if they get close. Instead, he's going to use them to interact with these Adepts. Nice force fields from the sentries are going to stop them from going up the ramp, and he's going to focus them down. Nice focus fire on the closest Adept here that's low health. Does manage to get one. The Adept gets two probes fairly low, but it's still only 3 workers killed despite sending 4 Adepts in. So 4 Adepts for 3 workers. Not the best trade in the world for our Protoss player. Well, from our blue Protoss player. BreaDy realizing that his opponent has actually thrown away a fair amount of army. He's going to use this as an opportunity to take this expansion. If his opponent were to attack him, he might be able to just counterattack with Blink Stalkers to force a base trade, which would give him a nice little advantage there. BreaDy being a little aggressive with these Stalkers. There's not really a lot of army out for Trap. So BreaDy could do a little bit of aggression here. If he's able to snipe this Immortal, he could be in a really great position. The Warp Prism looks like it might be thinking about picking up this Immortal, but or it might just be for an attack, not too sure. Both players are actually getting charged almost at the same time. BreaDy obviously getting it a little bit quicker, as he did go for the quicker Twilight Council, while his opponent went for a robotics facility. BreaDy's going to try and get a little bit of damage done here, focusing on a single Stalker and blinking away. Beautiful micro there from BreaDy, starting to get that value from those Stalkers. This is kind of what you need to do, and this is why it's a hard build to use, because you have to get that value from those Stalkers. But so far, BreaDy is getting that value. Obviously, the ultimate goal would be to get a Warp Prism or an Immortal. Stalkers in this composition, probably the least valuable unit, especially as the game goes on. They become less and less useful, but it is going to help either way. 3 more Adepts being rallied across the map, and BreaDy's shown that he's very strong against these so far, but I think with these Adepts finally committing into the main base, he's going to get a few probes here. You hate to see it happen with 3 Adepts in there. He does blink on top of them, but it's going to be a little bit hard here. He's going to focus fire a few of these probes. 10 probes now going down in this game. That's kind of the damage that he needed. BreaDy's now down 8 workers to his opponent, but he does have a 3rd base coming up with a few shield batteries. Should give him a good opportunity here. He is trying to get some more damage done with a volley going off on these Stalkers, but doesn't get the damage done that I think he would have wanted. But with the blink away, he doesn't lose too much either. So the army advantage looking actually like it's going to be in Trap's favor, as well as the worker advantage, but I don't know how long that will last for. The 3rd base only now coming down for Trap, so he's going to try and keep himself in this game. I don't think Trap knows about the 3rd base of BreaDy, as BreaDy got it very, very quickly before adding too many other gateways as well. I like this expansion time. He's adding a robotics bay and a robotics facility, so he's going to be on 2 robos. He's going to be able to produce disruptors. Now, this is a bold move in PvP, because disruptors being such a volatile unit, they can get a lot of damage done, especially if they are not scouted. This can be very, very dangerous for your opponent. There is nothing for Trap right now to deal with these disruptors. What you really need is a lot of Phoenix to pick up those disruptors to prevent them from firing their shots. But with the charge lots and the army coming across, these Stalkers trying frantically to kite, but as they are trying to blink away and kite at the same time, they're going to take too many swipes from those Zealots, and quite a few of these Stalkers do go down. Nice little army coming out for Trap. He's got 57 workers. He's attacking at a brilliant timing right now. He's got a Warp Prism. He's got nice upgrades, and he is attacking before the disruptors come out. There is a disruptor. Well, there was a disruptor. There is a disruptor on the way from the 2nd robotics bay, but there is 4 Adepts going into the natural expansion of BreaDy. He's blinking on top of them, making sure that he doesn't take too much damage. This is where the blink comes in handy here. He does do a nice split here, leaving only a few gateway units. Now he's got to re-engage at his natural expansion. I don't know if he can hold this. He's got 3 Archons, and BreaDy doesn't have any, to be honest, but he does have a depleted shield battery. I don't know if he has the he doesn't have the shield battery overcharge here that you have in the new patch. With the big warp in here, it looks like BreaDy is going to push this army back. Some nice focus fire on these Archons, and one of them is going to go down. He's now only down to 2 Archons, and the Zealot warp pin from Trap is going into the main base of BreaDy. BreaDy is going to be falling apart a little bit here. He's trying to chase this army down, realizing he needs to get something out of this. There's so many units in his base, and there are 3 warp gates that are unpowered, so it's going to make his warp pins just that little bit weaker. Meanwhile, this is happening. His opponent is completely mining at his bases, but I think BreaDy is making a big move here, able to catch out Trap's army and clean up absolutely everything except an Immortal and an Observer. So even though BreaDy has units all over his bases, he's cleaning up the main army. He's going to have a little bit of a better army, but now that the Warpins are coming in and the economy is in shambles for BreaDy, it's only a matter of time before his opponent overruns him. BreaDy frantically trying to warp in Zealots to deal with this multi-prong harass. His army is looking good right now, but his opponent is harassing the ever-loving hell out of him, and I really fear for him now that his economy is completely in shambles. He's in some big trouble. 50 workers for Trap. The entire time this is happening, really no harassment has been happening on Trap's side of the map. So I don't think that he minds trading away a lot of his army. So this is going to mean that BreaDy needs to get a lot of damage done. He hasn't shown his Disruptor just yet, but he's going to need to get a lot of value out of it if he wants to win this game. I'd like to see some focus fire on this Warp Prism to make sure that he can't warp in anything else. Looks like he's... Oh, no, that's his Warp Prism, so he doesn't mind. He's powering up one of these gateways. This is a cute little move here. Powering up your gateways with your Warp Prism to make sure you can make a few extra units. He does have his gateways spread out, so he's going to be able to warp in a few. But this pylon, will this pylon actually warp in all these? I don't know if it will. But the army from Trap is looking really scary now. He's got 4 Archons. He's got an Immortal, 3 Zealots, and more Zealots are joining the fray, and I don't think BreaDy has anything to deal with this. He is going to intercept a lot of these Zealots out in the map. I think this is a great start for him. He needs to make sure that he keeps his army in a good position, though. He doesn't want to engage just yet. A few pot shots from the Immortal on this Archon. BreaDy knows that he needs to hold on for his dear life. This is looking very dangerous. The Archons and Zealots commit into the natural expansion. They might just right-click on it at this point. This is looking very dangerous for BreaDy, but since he's focusing on this Nexus, this is a terrible move. I don't understand why he's going for this. He's going to lose absolutely all of his army, and actually this base stays alive. This is a complete reversal here for BreaDy. His opponent trades his entire army away for some damage on a Nexus. I think he was hoping to get that. This might be a massive blunder. With the Disruptor shot hitting those Archons, he gets absolutely everything. I don't think his opponent realized how big of a deal that was. Now he's only got a single Archon. As a Protoss, you cannot afford to lose your army. You need to be very, very careful. All he's got left now is 4 High Templar, and he's going to turn them into Archons. He's going to warp in some more. Yes, he still has the superior economy, but BreaDy has a really scary army at 67 army supply to the 47 of his opponent, and if he keeps trading away these units, these are his lifeline. BreaDy's just going to attack here. He's not going to deal with this back home. He knows that he's got to deal with the economy of his opponent. He's going to get a few of these Archons basically for free, and these trades are going really well for BreaDy. This base is going to go down. I don't think there's much his opponent can do about it. There is a warp in at the natural expansion of BreaDy, which is going to be difficult to deal with. A few more Zealots. This opponent is absolutely in the aggression mode, and this is going to be hard for BreaDy to deal with, but this is going to mean that since he was behind, this scrappy game is going to be great for him. 14 workers now. Everything's going down for BreaDy. This is looking very dangerous, but if he can manage to equalize here, he will have the superior army in the end. This Disruptor being so crucial at dealing with these swarming Zealots and Archons. This third base is going to go down for BreaDy, rebuilding his Twilight Council. I don't think it's going to matter at this point. It's going to turn into a full-on base race. BreaDy realizes this is what's happening. He's going to commit to it completely. There's no probe out on the map, as far as I can tell, for our blue Protoss player. So BreaDy's going to spread his probes out, realizing it's going to be a base race. He's going to take the advantage here. A single probe and a pylon out here at this third base position for Trap. It's going to be a really, really big deal for him, but he doesn't have a whole lot else going for him. Trap is finally going to have units inside his base for the first time in this game. Now BreaDy looking to equalize things. He knows he has the better army for the time being, but it's actually equal army supply, equal upgrades, but we'll have to see how the trades go. Nice little spread here from BreaDy, but he's using his Disruptor shot on something, but a lot of the army for Trap is still stuck inside, killing the base of his opponent. So BreaDy's got all of his army in one spot, which is going to allow him to take this trade and clean up all the rest of the army of his opponent, and this is looking great for BreaDy now. Now that both players are very, very low, it's going to be a base race, but the amount of power in this army for BreaDy is going to be able to equalize things quite a lot. There's not enough minerals to make another Nexus here, so as long as these probes don't get away, he should be in a pretty decent position. If he wants, he could be building pylons all over the map. Everything is going down now for BreaDy. It's looking very, very close of a game. I think it's impossible to call at this point. If I had to choose a player's position, I probably want to be BreaDy just because he has the better army. He knows that he can win in this game if he chooses. But does he have a probe somewhere safe? Yes, he does. He has enough mineral. No, he doesn't have any minerals, so he can't build anything else. And all of the buildings that he's going to have for the rest of this game are over here. Even though these probes got out, it's definitely not ideal. So Trap's going to be able to build pylons and simulators all over the map, which is going to force BreaDy to spread his units all over the place. This is obviously not what you want, so I think actually I reversed my decision. Trap is in a much better position to win this base trade. He's got more money, he's got more probes out on the map, his army is smaller, but it's still a very, very close game. There's still a pretty even army supply, and Zealots being fast, all that they're trying to do now is split and kill each other's buildings as quickly as possible. But BreaDy has a nice split here. Trap doesn't leave anything behind to build anything, and now he's only one building left for Trap. There's only 2 Zealots attacking here. I can't help but think Trap needs to have all his units here. He needs to have everything focusing these down. He's only got one assimilator left. Yes, he's got probes all over the map. They're trying to build something, but will this die before this probe gets this assimilator built? No, it will not. Another assimilator goes down, but BreaDy's got such a big army, he might be able to just put it in the warp prism. He's only got 3 buildings left. Now he's only got 1 building left. There is 1 assimilator building for Trap. This is too close to claw. Ladies and gentlemen, he needs to kill this very, very quickly, and he's still got enough minerals to build more. So if he decides to, he could build 1 more. This base is about to go down, and Trap wins the game. One of the closest games I have ever seen.